Gertrude, and I'm back with Taylor Conroy, who is in LA today, and we will continue our interview. So, Taylor, my next question to you was, what changed your life when someone gave to you? I think, no, we did that one. What changed your life when you gave to someone else?
Yeah, and I was saying that really the biggest change in my life happened because of giving. And yeah, that's not just because we're talking about giving or anything like that. Literally, the biggest change in my life happened because of giving. And what happened was I went on, like I was telling you, that trip to Uganda and Kenya in 2009, and at the time I was in real estate, and I was pretty wealthy at that point in my life. I was technically I was a millionaire, and I put aside a bunch of money for charity. I pictured myself as being a budding philanthropist, and when I went on that trip, I figured I'd be able to go over there and do a lot of good with the money that I had saved up. Um, and it was a really eye-opening experience in a lot of ways. I was very wet behind the ears, really green, and I learned that you can't just walk over and throw money at a problem and hope that it's solved. There's a lot of other things that have to be done, a lot, and there's the law of indirect consequences, and there's just so many different things to take into account when funding any type of nonprofit organization or anything that's impact driven on the ground. And to get to your question, after looking at a number of different nonprofits and researching their models and deciding which one I thought would be the most sustainable and make the most difference on the ground, we decided to put the money that I had saved up towards Free the Children. And that was because they were using this 5-part holistic approach to the villages that they were working in. They were doing water and sanitation initiatives, women's empowerment initiatives, sustainable agriculture, medical services, and education. And so I decided that, look, they've got an amazing model in place. I donated my money to Free the Children. It funded a library to be built, like that one I told you about with the goat in Kenya. And then when I got back to Canada after that trip, I actually went through a big period of depression. Like really, my mind was blown that this is how our world works, that so many people live without, when so many of us in Canada, North America, the Western world, let's say, live with. And then I got an email from Free the Children saying that the money that I had donated went to build this library. And these are 2 separate trips, by the way. The goat came on the second trip. This is the first trip. And reading that and then reading how this library was going to affect this community, it blew my mind, and it changed me completely down to the core. And really, to wrap all this like full circle, that in essence was one of the biggest reasons for starting Change Heroes. Was I had this like crazy feeling in my heart that I never felt before. I felt, to tell you the truth, I felt at one with other people. I felt so euphoric yet so natural at the same time, just by that simple act of giving, that I thought, that's the feeling. I'll never forget, that's the feeling that everyone needs to feel, because walls just like came down on my head. The us and them mentality of developed world and developing world, or emerging world and developed world, or whatever you want to call it, all the separation between Africans and North Americans, or whatever we label ourselves as, they all just kind of came tumbling down, and I felt complete oneness with people. And that was the beginning of Change Heroes. That was the thought, like, I need to spread this. Other people need to feel this. And I got it through giving, so what I'm going to do is try to get as many people to give as possible. And that was like, that's the backbone of Change Heroes. That's why it started. It's like, it's not because I want to get people to give pocket change every day. That's not that passionate of a project. What it is I know that when they give that money, I'm giving them this feeling that I had when I funded that first library. And we've had that from people saying that when they run a Change Heroes campaign, they fund a schoolhouse in Kenya, so they're in essence rattling their friends and giving over their $3.33 a day for 3 months, but in essence $10,000 in total. They're changed as people forever, because they realize that they can make a massive difference by sitting at the friggin' laptop, pants optional. They do these things, and we've had people literally pack up their bags that lived in Sweden, move to Vancouver to work for Change Heroes for free because of that feeling that they got when they funded a schoolhouse. Same things happened with a guy in Boston, same thing with a young woman in Victoria, Ottawa, Toronto. We've had people move from all over the world to Vancouver to work for free, quit paying jobs, work for free for Change Heroes, because they got that feeling and they want other people to feel that too.
It's something that you can't buy with money, with wealth. with anything, correct?
It is, and I can hear the thoughts of some people saying, well, but you're saying that you can buy it because you've given this money over. It's not the same. It's something so deep at the core. If you went and just said, look, I'm just going to buy fulfillment, you'd be going at it with the wrong intention. Really the intention from the beginning was to be of service, and the intention was to do something more. You know what I mean? It wasn't to buy a school. It was to do something that would impact our fellow humans. And that's what all the people that run Change Heroes campaigns have in common, is they want to do something more. And we just happen to be the vehicle for them to do something more. We're advocates for people taking action however they want to take action, by signing a change.org petition, by volunteering in their community, by going to volunteering at the food bank, or running a Change Heroes campaign. Whatever it is, what they have, all these Change Heroes, our tribe has in common, is that they feel like they want to do something more in the world, and we're humbled, blessed, honored, so happy and fortunate to be the vehicle that a lot of people, thousands of people from 43 countries all over the world, have chosen to be their vehicle to make social change.
Why is giving so important for the future of humanity, do you think?
Because of the obvious reasons, in that, like what we talked about briefly, as there's a lot of people that don't have, and there's a lot of people that do have, and that wealth inequality is a big reason, obviously is a big reason why a lot of people live in poverty. So that's the obvious, and the unobvious is that feeling. To me, let's get a bit fluffy here. To me, that feeling of oneness, that feeling of no separation, that feeling that we're all the same, that we all deserve the same, that you and I won't sleep until the world is equal and fair and just, that feeling is what people get when they give. And that's what I'm a big proponent of. That's why I want people to give. And what I mean by this separateness mentality is, it's an illusion. It's an absolute illusion, Gertrude, that I'm different from you because you have dark colored skin and I have pink sunburnt skin because of my Irish roots, and I was out in the sun the other day and my head is like flaking off. But in a lot of parts of the world, people would see us as being very different, though we're not different whatsoever, aside from you obviously have better fashion sense.
Well, the feeling you're describing is, in Africa we have a philosophy, and I'm pretty sure if you've been to Southern Africa you would have come across the Ubuntu philosophy. And in Ubuntu, we believe that there is no you, there is no me, there's only we. We are one. And it's a very difficult philosophy to articulate and explain, and I can hear why you kind of struggle to put it into a Western context. My grandmother used to say that the human race is like the human body. So if you cut your finger and you start to bleed, your white blood cells will rush to that point to heal it. In a week's time, you can't even see the scar. Now imagine if the 7 billion people on this planet reacted and responded to the world's problems in this way. And we heard that there's an earthquake in Haiti, and we each gave $1 to Haiti. That is a country that will be restored in one day, correct?
I really like that analogy, and to use that similar analogy to that, when we remember and we realize and we wake up to the fact that we are all the same, that we're all one, that we're all part of the same thing, then it won't even be looked at as giving. Like if this represents this represents you, okay? This represents you, Gertrude, and this represents a young girl who's 7 years old and living in poverty in Cambodia, okay? The way that we look at things right now through our very limited lens as a human species is we would see that as Gertrude, actually, like this kind of works with this, like it looks like a puppet show here at the bottom of your screen. Gertrude is giving to the girl in Cambodia, like, here you go, and girl in Cambodia gets it. And so the way that we would look at that is almost like a one-way relationship, and that's how we typically look at giving. Oh, you're giving to someone else, you're being very nice, you're being very philanthropic, blah, blah, blah. But really, if we actually look deeper and we realize that we're all one, you can actually look, we're actually, these two are part of the same body, and and it's like the same as if this hand was itchy, this hand would come over and scratch it, right?
Yeah.
Or if this hand was hurting, this hand would come over and hold it. And never ever would this hand then say, hey, by the way, you owe me because I came over and I scratched you. I don't know if you remember, but I scratched you and I held you when you were tied. It would never ever say that because we're the same part of the same body. And that's what has to happen, is we have to realize that this isn't Taylor giving to a community in Kenya. This is two parts of the same thing doing what they should just do. Inherently, this is just what, not to just get crazy and yell at you in my car, but this is what we should do. Period. It's not. I shouldn't have to sit here and be like, you should give. Screw that. How about to feel the most natural, and I said, like they said, euphoric feeling that I've ever felt in life, that I don't know how many people need to do it. I don't know how many Richard Bransons there need to be to, gearing all of his life and his wealth towards, solving social problems. Bill Gates, one of the richest men on earth, and devoting his life to giving. He has all the stuff that all of these people on earth that we're all trying to get. He has the wealth, he has the fortune, he has the fame, he has the cars, he has the whatever. He can have whatever he wants. What does he do? He gives.
People need to get that. It's not about being rich. It's not about being a millionaire. Like you said, it could be in your community, just helping an old lady walk across the street, going to a homeless shelter and helping with a feeding program. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Imagine like, how you feel when you help someone. Imagine that was your life. And it can be your life. And I know people are thinking, oh, but you won't be able to make enough money for your family to survive, or blah, 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 and all these other terrible limiting beliefs that have been imparted on us by years and years of limited thinking. Not just, talk about the public school system at all, or our typical upbringings. But it is absolutely possible to be of service all the time. And that's why I love being alive in this era, to be honest. I feel like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs must have felt like when computing was coming out and they were like, wow, we're kind of the only ones really doing this thing, like really, really well. That's what social enterprise is right now. Social enterprise is this crazy, emerging, incredible opportunity. There's impact investors. I spent my morning at an impact investor meeting where there's about 175 people that are really actively interested in impact investing. So investing in companies that are, solving a social problem. And this has never happened before. This is the first time in history people are getting together and saying, I want my money to go and do good things. And so there's entrepreneurs like myself and really a handful of others that are taking advantage of this and kind of going, wow, so what you're saying is you'll give me $3 million and I can build a company that is going to service the world and solve social problems. That didn't exist 10 years ago. Good luck trying to raise $3 million and build a company that was going to do really, really wonderful things. This is a turning point in history. And it's a massive opportunity. I think it's the biggest opportunity in the for-profit world is the social good sector.
Yeah, and the world is flat now because of the technology that we have. The feedback that you get from all of these projects is instant. It's a photograph from a village in Africa that's given you a goat that could be online within seconds to spread and share the joy and the impact that you're actually making on the ground. Okay, so my last question to you is this. I know you have a campaign right now that you are launching this month. Can we talk a little bit about that? It's happening in Canada, correct?
Yeah, it's available only to Canadians, and that excludes Quebec, but not that Quebecers aren't Canadian, they very much are, but for this contest reason, the rules are it excludes Quebec. Anyways, it's called Project Empowerment, #Project Empowerment, and what it is the easiest Change Heroes campaign to ever exist. What it is instead of getting 33 people to give $3.33 a day for 3 months, it's getting 33 people to give $1 a day for 3 months to add up to a total of $3,000. And get this, everyone that raises $3,000 is entered in to win a fully paid trip for 4 to the Ecuadorian Amazon to see their impact in person, because that $3,000 that they raise is going to go towards helping to empower women through animal husbandry and artisan work and beekeeping and saving circles is going to empower women to sustain and support their families through small business. So that's what that $3,000 is going to go towards. So anyone who raises $3,000 starting in the month of March, no matter when they start, they could start on March 31st if they want. They get a full 30 days to raise $3,000. People raise, by the way, people raise $10,000 in a day, in a week sometimes. $3,000 is like a walk in the park. So raise $3,000. They're entered in to win this trip for 4 to the Ecuadorian Amazon. 10 days, you and like 3 of your friends or your mom and your dad and your sister or however you want to do it, and you spend those 10 days helping to build schools, meeting the women that you've empowered, going on water walks, like going on these crazy midnight hikes in the Amazon rainforest, which is the most diverse animal and plant species environment on Earth. It's the lungs of the Earth. It's incredible. I was there maybe 6 months ago now, maybe a bit longer, anyways, last year, and it was a mind-blowing experience. And this is like a $24,000 trip that someone gets to win just by empowering women in that community and getting to go. And a little snippet, a little tidbit, because we launched this so late in the game, very few people have heard about it. You're literally the first piece of press that we have that we'll get, that this campaign will go on. So the chances of winning that trip are exponentially high, and all you have to do is launch a campaign in March.
Fantastic. Wow, well, I am excited to see the results of this. Please do get in touch with me once this all comes together. I would love to catch up with you again and just see the impact of what this campaign has actually done on the ground.
Well, Gertrude, I think if you go to changeheroes.com or go on our Facebook wall and look for Project Empowerment stuff, you could start your own campaign, and then you could take me to Ecuador with you as one of your guests.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much, Taylor.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work and the inspiration that you have put out into the world with Change Heroes. I would really love to keep in touch with you and see how things are going.
Ditto. I'd love to be in touch anytime. Let me know if I can ever be of service to you, Gertrude. I think you're wonderful.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye. See ya. Bye.